Nigga took a picture with Rick Ross. You like a nigga, put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Rick Ross spent years crafting an image of being cool and collected, but now his child's mother has exposed a surprising detail behind that facade. He's actually intimidated by 50 Cent, and the level of fear is far greater than anyone might have guessed. Think about it. A major rap figure, praised for his fearlessness and control, struggling with sleepless nights, haunted by one rival he can't seem to outrun.
Deciding to your life up. Rick, bro, I'm gonna your life up.
When Ross finally decided to clap back, it wasn't just about ego. It was a desperate move to avoid being entirely crushed by 50. The impact 50 had on him was so intense. It raises the question, how did Ross even manage to continue his career?
Like Rick also has a baby mother who's currently working as a call girl. He has a daughter by Brooke.
And how did the whole drama even start? With nothing more than a look. A cold glance exchanged at the 2008 BET Awards was all it took for Ross to feel provoked enough to launch an all-out feud with 50. The irony, 50 Cent had no idea anything had even happened.
Is there anything about Ross and his career that you have any respect for?
Oh, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
Later on, 50 Cent would admit that he couldn't even recall seeing Ross that night. But for Ross, that lack of acknowledgement felt like blatant disrespect. And in the harsh world of hip-hop, disrespect often escalates into rivalry. At the time, Ross was enjoying major success.
18 years of the back and forth. If, people that's been around know.
He'd already dropped 2 platinum albums and was living like a heavyweight in the rap industry. But that brief moment at the BET Awards, where he locked eyes with 50, ignited something in him. Was it jealousy, doubt, or simply a desire to make headlines? Either way, Ross made one of the boldest decisions of his life.
I'm getting that. I don't need your fucking check. It wasn't even about your check. You didn't have that when I met you. So my baby wasn't a check baby. All of the 9 or 10 kids you got now, those are check babies.
He got 10 kids now?
Oh yeah, y'all didn't know that? See, he only acknowledged toy or whatever y'all know about, whatever y'all could Google, but girl, it's about 9 or 10 sure.
He picked a fight with one of the most unforgiving personalities in hip-hop. And let's be honest, Ross had no real idea what he was stepping into. The most unexpected part? 50 Cent didn't even remember seeing him at the show. That's how unbothered he was. Still, Ross chose to push forward.
Also has a baby mother who's currently working as a call girl. He has a daughter by Brooke, right there. Can you see that? This is like the adult. This is like where you can find really exclusive whores.
To Ross, the feud was a chance to elevate his profile, but he misjudged the situation. He figured he could benefit from 50's fame, but that plan backfired fast. 50 didn't just reply, he was gearing up for total retaliation. Ross didn't ease into the feud during a casual interview. He went straight for shock value.
I kicked Rick ass. Kicked Rick Ross' ass, right?
On his song Mafia Music, Ross threw in a striking line about the fire that nearly put 50's former partner and child in harm's way.
Say what the you want about 50 Cent, but I swear this man's pettiness is uncanny. Like this I feel is everybody's alter ego.
At first listen, it might have seemed like typical rap bravado, but for those paying attention, the message was crystal clear. Ross was suggesting that 50 had ties to a very disturbing event. This wasn't just trash talk. He was referencing a deeply sensitive chapter from 50 Cent's personal life.
I mean, it's sort of embarrassing to me, because as you listen to his raps, you would definitely believe him, but I mean, it was surprising that he would sit there and say he spends $200 a month on food, $300 a month on clothes. His jury is rented.
Even Shaniqua Tompkins, 50's former partner, went public with accusations, blaming him for the blaze that destroyed her home, with 6 people inside. Ross used the controversy to his advantage, and it didn't take long for 50 to strike back. But Ross still didn't pull back.
You imagine having a a parent that's, you know, been in and out, being supportive at one point and not being supportive, and you just in the middle of things. You have done nothing. Regardless of what me and Ross' issues are, he's not supposed to take that out on my son. And for years, he has been using Lil Will as a scapegoat because he know that's the only thing can hurt.
He doubled down, boldly claiming he'd already defeated 50 and was running the rap game, even before things had truly escalated. But here's what often gets overlooked. If there's one thing 50 Cent is known for, it's his ability to turn industry feuds into personal vendettas.
He don't know where the money came from to put a down payment on a $1 million home. And, you know, it's just sad, you know, and I just want to prove the facts today here on This Is 50. It's all real. Coming from.
He didn't just want to trade diss tracks, he wanted to dismantle Ross completely. So he started looking into Ross's background, and what he uncovered caused a major stir. 50 revealed Ross's previous job as a correctional officer. And with that, the tough persona Ross had carefully built began to unravel.
It's been back and forth and inconsistency with co-parenting and me being quiet and saying, screw this, let me do what I gotta do for my child. And then saying, bunk this, I'm being disrespected. Being disrespected. Love. You know what I mean? Because you can be loved all day, but being disrespected in the midst of love is one thing. You know what I'm saying? So it just got to a point to where I just said enough was enough.
This wasn't just a minor misstep. Rick Ross had built his reputation on being a street-certified boss, someone shaped by real-life hustling. But 50 Cent had proved to challenge that image. Photos of Ross in a correctional officer's uniform began surfacing online, pulling back the curtain on his carefully constructed persona. 50 didn't hold back. He pointed out that the rapper claiming to be a former drug dealer was, in reality, working inside the system, doing clerical work. And 50 wasn't done yet. He raised the stakes by connecting with Ross's ex, Tia Kemp, and she didn't mince words. During her sit-down with 50, she opened up and shared deeply personal insights that caught everyone off guard.
Child neglect with no intent to harm, battery on her, and aggravated battery to deadly weapon because she was trying to exit the gate of the development that I stayed in, and the car to make her stop, got out, we got into a fight, and I went to jail. Lil Will was in the back seat, he wasn't nothing but a year old, so they took me to jail and gave me child neglect with no intent to harm because I left him in the car to get out the car to fight.
Tia Kemp claimed Ross was far from the dominant figure he pretended to be. She took sharp jabs, saying he leased his high-end cars, rented his jewelry, and that the glamorous lifestyle he flaunted was mostly for show. But the most damaging claim came when she confirmed what many had speculated. Ross did, in fact, work as a correctional officer, backing up 50's earlier accusations. Then 50 made an unexpected move, one Ross never saw coming. He treated Tia to an upscale shopping spree, making sure it played out in the public eye.
We finna dig up a whole bunch of motherfucking maggots right now, ho. I'm not finna play with you, you Ozempic bitch.
To make matters worse, 50 also took Ross's son on a flashy trip to Las Vegas, with Floyd Mayweather joining them. They took photos together, plastered across the internet. Ross stayed silent. That level of public embarrassment left little room for response. Fans online called it one of the coldest plays in hip-hop beef history. But then, 50 crossed the line. He published a private video involving another one of Ross's former partners, Lestonia Leviston. That's when the feud turned legally serious. Leviston sued 50 for emotional damage, and she won a $5 million judgment.
Brother over there paying people to put this out. He over there paying people to put this out. And running off with his money, and it's getting back to me. So now I'm finna send the feds over there to y'all motherfucking empire. See, you had the right bitch today, ho.
The lawsuit hit 50 hard. So hard, in fact, that he ended up filing for bankruptcy. For the first time during their conflict, 50 took a real loss. Meanwhile, Ross kept putting out music and continued with business as usual, seemingly unfazed by the drama. And, in time, fans began to move on from the Officer Ricky narrative. The impact just wasn't what it used to be. Then, just as things seemed to quiet down, Tia Kemp reappeared, stirring the pot once again. She jumped on Instagram Live and claimed Ross still fears 50 Cent, According to her, it's because 50 knows too much. She hinted that Ross is hiding significant secrets, ones that could potentially shift everything.
Oh, give dog a fucking hug like I said. He was on his nuts. Oh, that fucking year, you and Callie, big fat. Callie, your fat ass go out there cut your yard trying to go viral like Will with no shoes on. Boy, we know goddamn you ain't cutting nothing but a fucking tomahawk.
Then came another twist. Old photos from Tia's 2009 Smooth magazine cover began circulating again. But these weren't just regular glamour shots. What made them noteworthy was the photographer, none other than 50 Cent himself. Ross's longtime rival was the one behind the lens, directing the shoot like it was a fashion spread. In the now viral photo, Tia sits above 50, dressed in black lace underwear, a glittering sheer top, and bright red heels. Meanwhile, 50 is on the floor with a vintage camera capturing the moment like he's working on an editorial piece.
Like the fucking Diddy Doula parties. I'm in this. That's another thing. When is we gonna see you over there with Sean Cole?
And if the photo setup didn't already raise eyebrows, Smooth magazine intensified the situation with a headline that stirred more controversy. It read, "Where's the beef?" followed by a pointed subhead. Guest editor 50 Cent introduces Rick Ross's baby mama Tia. Not only did 50 give her that platform, but he also made sure his role was front and center, especially to Ross. Fast forward to the present, and the friction hasn't eased up. The latest spark? Rick Ross reconnecting with Big Meech after his prison release, a move that didn't sit well with 50 Cent.
Don't be scared now. No Diddy, huh? You scared now, huh? I know y'all on them tapes. Freaky. I know you is. 10 churn have. It's time to show them churns now. I ain't gonna let off.
Given that 50 Cent serves as the executive producer of the BMF TV series, he viewed the situation as a major betrayal. He took to Instagram, posting an image of a giant rat with the caption, "I think I'm Big Meech." A clear shot at the situation. But he didn't stop there. He also criticized Big Meech for allegedly distancing himself from Tammy Cowens. If you're unfamiliar with her, that's understandable. Tammy Cowens was once Meech's assistant and business associate. The twist? Reports claimed she had flipped and become an informant for the FBI. As if things weren't already messy, Rick Ross weighed in, mocking 50's reaction to what he called a simple photo with Meech. A bold move, especially given their shared history. The back and forth has continued, but 50 isn't the only one frequently calling out Ross. Tia Kemp has also made it a point. Recently, Tia brought Ross into the spotlight again, this time tying him to the controversy surrounding Diddy's now notorious party scandal. She implied Ross could be connected to the same kind of questionable behavior that led to Diddy facing federal trafficking allegations. She even mentioned the Diddy Doula situation, stirring up even more speculation.
Don't talk about Miss Carol. Y'all know who Miss Carol is. You know that's behind your brother. I'm finna make sure her family sue y'all whole estate, cause that case is not closed.
Tia didn't hold back. She publicly told Ross to check on your friend, mocking their history of wild parties and overly affectionate posts from the past. And this wasn't her first time speaking out against him. She had already gone live on Instagram, criticizing Ross for staying completely silent as serious allegations against Diddy surfaced. But this wasn't a baseless rant. Tia named names and provided context to back her claims. She even accused Ross of more than guilt by association, alleging he may have played a role in arranging violent acts. And she kept going. Tia suggested she might involve federal investigators if necessary. Just when it seemed she had reached her limit, she dropped an even heavier claim. She pointed to a murder involving someone named M. Carroll, hinting strongly that Ross could be connected to her death. The online reaction was immediate, shocked and concerned. If there's any validity to what she's saying, this story moves from messy drama to something significantly more serious.
We're talking about Drake, girl. He got one that looked just like Drake from a Russian woman. I can't wait till he put that one out there. What you waiting on, fat bat?
So, who exactly was Miss Carroll? According to Tia Kemp, she was killed shortly after visiting her mother's home, and Tia hinted that Ross or people close to him could be involved. She also referenced another troubling case, someone being shot outside a place called Black House, again implying ties to Ross's circle. The accusations didn't stop there. During an episode of Reha Please, Tia continued to speak out. But before diving into the latest controversy, she made it clear that some issues have been ongoing, specifically nearly 2 decades of co-parenting. difficulties with Rick Ross. According to her, she's reached her breaking point. She says she's no longer willing to stay quiet or protect anyone's image. She's ready to speak her truth, no matter who it affects. Tia described raising their son while Ross would frequently vanish and reappear, as if parenting was optional, a pattern that's worn her down over the years. But this isn't just a personal rant. Tia says she's ready to reveal what she calls the real story behind Ross's family life. She claims to have receipts and first-hand experiences she's been holding on to. And in her words, Ross has more children than he can reasonably care for, joking that at this rate, he's practically running a secret daycare.
Honest with you, she's always been in our business and just not happy for her brother, and I just don't have no respect for that. You know, she know what I have done for her brother, and I've been there. You know, it's not about money, fame, or any of that. She knows that her brother has a heart for me, and she can't take that because a man has never did what her brother is doing for other women.
Then came a major claim. Tia alleged that Ross fathered a child with a woman from Russia and has kept the entire situation hidden from the public. If accurate, this would be a significant development. But Tia wasn't just focused on the existence of the child. She emphasized Ross's lack of involvement. According to her, he's more focused on showcasing his wealth and influence than fulfilling his responsibilities as a father.
Renee is in the middle of everything because she handle everything for Will. So Will listen to a lot of things that Renee says. You get what I'm saying? Renee is a bitter person because she's never had a man to not do anything for her.
Tia even shared with Young Miami a time when Ross tried to send their son to a college in Mississippi. Not because it was the best fit, but so Ross could claim credit for the decision. She opened up about how emotionally draining it has been to raise a child in the public spotlight, especially when the other parent, despite being in the limelight, isn't consistently present when it really counts. Her son is currently attending an HBCU, but Tia recalled a painful moment. He had to explain to classmates why his father didn't attend his high school graduation.
Father that was there throughout the past couple years of his high school football games. Why you couldn't make it to his high school graduation? You could have stood on the other side of the auditorium.
And you think that was because of you?
Of course. You know, it's to trigger me in some certain way, make him feel a certain way.
This is the same child Ross used to support proudly at football games. Yet he missed one of the most meaningful events in his life. Tia highlighted that her son grew up seeing a father who showed up only when it served his own interests. That truth hit hard. She's no longer staying silent. Tia claims Ross uses their son for publicity, appearing involved only when it benefits his image. And her criticism doesn't stop with Ross. Tia also took aim at Ross's sister, Renee. If things with Ross were already tense, her statements about Renee made them even more personal. According to Tia, Renee has interfered in their issues from the start, and she didn't mince words, saying she has no respect for her. In Tia's view, Renee should step aside because she's been stirring up problems in private for years. Tia also hinted at a serious situation involving another one of Ross's baby mamas and a child neglect case. She didn't go into full detail, but it was clear that things escalated quickly.
He stepped down from the position, and I asked him about it. You know, of course, he denied it, which his sister confirmed it and told me that he was a correction officer, and, you know.
Despite all of this, Tia says she was constantly encouraged to stay quiet, remain respectful, and ignore the dysfunction. But after nearly 20 years, she's reached her limit. She revealed that Ross allegedly tried to silence her through private pressure, including cease and desist letters and legal threats. But Tia made it clear she's not going to be quiet anymore. And by the time Ross tried to defend himself, it was already too late. The internet had already caught on, and public opinion began to shift. With everything now out in the open, fans started asking difficult questions. Is Rick Ross hiding more than he's letting on? Is there a darker side to his past that he's trying to keep buried? Did 50 Cent ultimately win this feud? Or did Ross find a way to survive the blowback? And perhaps the biggest question, why does Ross still seem intimidated by 50? What exactly does 50 know that hasn't been revealed? Yet, one thing's for certain, this story isn't finished. The conversation is still active. New details are emerging. And the situation? It's only getting more tangled. If you thought this episode brought a lot, the next one takes it even further. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like, the video, share it with your circle, and drop a comment. Whose side are you on? We'll see you in the next one. It's only going to escalate from here.